Here are a few scenarios and questions for you to think about. You've accomplished your entire goal except that one little thing. Do you still feel like you came up short? Before you start a project or make a big decision, you need to know every little detail to get comfortable with it. If you suddenly find yourself working and thinking harder than normal to solve an issue, do you feel like you're losing your edge? How about when you ask for help? Do you consider that a sign of weakness? And are you always the first one in or the last one out of the office? If you said yes to any of those questions, there's a good chance that you're struggling with the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern where people doubt their accomplishments and they're afraid that everyone is going to figure out you're a complete fraud. It should come as no surprise that it's closely linked to confidence. The good news is that you're not alone. The International Journal of Behavioral Science estimated 70% of people experience these feelings at some point, and it affects men and women in pretty much every walk of life. The better news is that the feeling's temporary and there are so many things you can do about it. Valerie Young published a book, The Secret Thoughts of Successful Women, and she found 5 patterns that associated with imposter syndrome. The perfectionists, also known as our micromanagers. We have our experts who need to know everything about a specific topic down to the most minute detail. Our natural geniuses they're so used to everything coming naturally that when they have to try harder, it feels like failure. Our soloists are the go-it-alone type, so if they have to ask for help, not good. And you have your superwoman who has to work harder than everybody else just to prove they belong there. Do any of these sound familiar? I'm going to bet we've all had these experiences at some point. And actually, my personal belief is if you haven't experienced this, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. When you do things that are beyond your natural comfort level and boldly run into the unknown, once you stop and look around, it's completely natural to think, what am I doing here? So the question isn't how to avoid feeling like an imposter. The question should be, what do I do when it happens? If you're being aggressive with your career, you're going to feel this and you're going to feel it often. So you'd better get used to it and find ways that work for you to get over that hump. The good news is the feeling is usually temporary, and it's all in your head. So A, you can fix it, and B, no one else knows your little secret. So here's some ideas to get you back on track. Do what energizes you. When we feel like a fraud, it's mentally exhausting. So be sure to go back to your happy place. If you're an extrovert and you get your energy from social situations, get out there and be social. If you get your energy from nature and quiet reflection, then turn down that party invitation next weekend and focus on you. Record your success. If you've been following the series, then you know we've already talked about recording your wins and keeping those That a Girl emails to support it. Here's another good use for that brag sheet. You can go back and reflect on just how awesome you really are. You can also learn from others. If you feel like you don't belong, there's a chance that you know somebody who you think does belong. Put on your networking hat and go make a new friend. Find out their secrets to success. I bet you'll find that they're no different than you. Admit it. Being wrong or unfamiliar with the topic doesn't make you a fraud. It makes you human. Remember in school when you never asked that question, and when someone finally did, everyone was so happy? It's the same concept. When you ask questions, chances are good everyone else is thinking the same thing. And as a leader, you're expected to dig deeper and ask more questions. Making mistakes? Just another day in the office. Don't overthink it. Use your leadership skills to course correct. You also want to grab some cheerleaders. We all need to be told, you got this from time to time. And I bet you've been a great cheerleader for friends in the past. It's time for you to ask for the favor in return. And keep the bar high. When imposter syndrome happens, you're in a new situation. You're unfamiliar, your confidence is taking a bit of a siesta, and you're waiting for someone to say, just kidding, you don't really belong here. And as much as it feels natural to simplify your environment, don't. Keep that bar high. Keep the expectations of your team in check. If it makes you feel any better, you're the imposter, not them. So they should keep working at the same level of intensity anyway, don't you think? View obstacles as challenges. When you're in a cycle where everything is harder than it needs to be, it's easy to start feeling super grumpy and frustrated and short-tempered. Look at each obstacle as a challenge and solve it using the skills you already have. What's the issue? What outcome do I want? How do I get there? Who do I need to help me? And execute. Lather, rinse, repeat until they're all gone. The next idea is fake it till you make it. You're the only one who knows how you feel. So smile, breathe, and trust your instincts until your intellect catches up with you. And give yourself a break. You know the voice in your head that says all these negative things? It's probably in hyperdrive right now when you're feeling out of your depth. Do what you can to quiet that negative self-talk and focus on the positive. I actually find it easier to write down all the negative talk. And then when I actually read it, there are things that are legitimate that I build a plan to solve, and the rest is just background noise, so I'm comfortable dismissing those. Separating the work from the fear quiets the noise for me, and maybe it'll help you too. Go full out. You're there because someone or lots of someones feel you belong there. If you let your insecurities hold you back, you're going to prove yourself right and disappoint everyone who believed in you. So there's lots of things you can do to get yourself over the I'm a fraud hurdle. What's helpful is that you're not alone. Now while you're in it, let's be honest, you really don't care about anybody else, but try and look at this as a positive. If you're not feeling a bit out of your depth, you're not trying hard enough. Realize it's temporary and find the techniques that work for you. As always, I'm here to help, and you know where to find me, and we'll see you next time.